Hi guys, Heather with Feather Bear Designs. I gotta kind of squat down here, it's a little awkward. I am coming back with the second part of the geode cup that I am showing you guys how to make. The first part was me applying the glitter, the chunky glitter, over the epoxy. I did that yesterday, just so you guys know the true time lapse. I went to work today, I've come home. Now I am going to apply a coat of epoxy over the top of that glitter. Now the point of this is the base glitter coat for the geode cup needs to be absolutely smooth. You're going to spray paint over the top of that. So this bottom coat where the glitter is, we may even have to apply 2 coats of epoxy depending on how smooth it comes out. Otherwise, once it's all said and done, it's going to be a hot mess because it's going to be all lumpy bumpy. So I'm going to go ahead and adjust the camera so you can see what I'm doing. Bear with me here, folks. 1 second. Okay, so I have already pre-mixed my epoxy. And if you guys saw, we have uploaded a video on how I measure and mix my epoxy. So that has been done. I'm using this little container because I needed to bring it with me. Usually I'll take my cups over to the station where I have all my epoxy, but I needed to bring it over with me to the turner because I'm going to epoxy it while it's on the turner. I'm going to do that because it's going to be easy in this case, and I have other cups spinning. My arms for my cups do come off, so I could absolutely take this off and epoxy it off of here. If it's easier for you to epoxy while it's not turning, then please do what works best for you. In this case, I'm not worried about messing anything up. I'm just going to get that coat of epoxy on there, so I'm going to do it right here on the turner. So I'm going to go ahead and just scoop my epoxy out, and because it's turning this direction, when I start to lay my epoxy down, I want to start over to this side because it's automatically going to start moving this way. So if I were to start over here, it's just going to start dripping. So start over here with your epoxy, and then as it starts rolling, it'll start leveling out. Okay, I'm just scooping it out, slopping it on there. Excuse my little monster in the background. This first coat is going to be I'm just going to, while the cup is spinning, I'm kind of slopping it on there. Just so that I can get full coverage. Now, a lot of you have asked how you epoxy to the top and not get epoxy inside the cup. This is how I do it. So I take my epoxy and I move it, just feather it up towards the top. Never take your brush over the edge like this. Don't do that, because then it's going to create a path for that epoxy to run inside. Just take your brush right up to the top of the cup. And then if you have to, you can take your brush sideways, right along the edge like this, and smooth it out. Okay, now I'm just, as this is spinning, I'm going to be looking at it to make sure that I have smoothed out all of the epoxy. I'm just going to make sure that I have enough of it up top here for it to level out and be smooth. Same with the bottom edge. On the bottom edge, I just take my brush right around that edge like that and get the epoxy on there, and then I put some on the very bottom. Make sure that you have a nice even coat on the bottom, and it will smooth out. If you have it running over the edges, it's going to be all wonky as it starts to set. So make sure that you're keeping an eye on that as it's turning, and you're getting any extra epoxy that's running down off of the bottom. Okay, so I'm just taking a good look at it, making sure that there's no spots that need to be smoothed out. Making sure I don't need to add any additional epoxy to it. This has got a pretty good coat on it. Okay, I'm satisfied with that, so I'm just going to let it do its thing. So I'm going to let this spin and let the epoxy set up on it. I will not revisit the epoxy on this cup until tomorrow. I don't mess with my epoxy until it's been completely 100% cured, which is 12 to 24 hours in most cases, in most climates. So I usually let these go overnight and I revisit them the next day, because rushing your epoxy does you absolutely no favors. So I will be back tomorrow with the next step on this cup.